You know the feeling when you're scrolling through endless specs and glossy pictures, trying to figure out if the next laptop will actually survive a night of gaming, a couple of client presentations, and the occasional coffee-spilled commute. You want something that feels solid when you pick it up, that won't scream for attention when the fans kick in, and that won't drain the battery faster than you can finish a level. Most of us have been there, hesitant to drop a good chunk of money on a machine that looks great on paper, but ends up being a compromise you regret. That's why I'm taking a closer look at the Dell Precision 3580 mobile workstation, not as a catalogue of features, but as the tool it really becomes once it lands on your desk or lap. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the core question: is this laptop a sensible choice for someone who wants serious gaming performance without abandoning the professional workflow? The Precision line is traditionally aimed at engineers, designers, and anyone who needs certified graphics and reliable compute power on the go. The 3580 inherits that DNA, packing a 15.6-inch Full HD panel that hits the sweet spot between screen real estate and portability. For most gamers, a 1080p display is still the sweet spot because it lets you push higher frame rates without demanding a top-tier GPU. In practice, you'll see smoother gameplay in titles like Fortnite or Apex Legends, while still having enough color fidelity for Photoshop or CAD work. Now, what does that look like in the real world? Imagine you've just finished a long day of rendering a 3D model in Autodesk Maya. You close the software, fire up Cyberpunk 2077, and the laptop shifts gears. The dedicated GPU, the exact model varies by configuration, but the 3580 is built to accommodate professional-grade GPUs that double as competent gaming chips ramps up, and you get a stable 60 frames per second experience on medium settings. The transition isn't a jarring jump. The system feels like it's designed to handle both workloads without demanding a reboot or driver reinstall. Heat is a common pain point for any high-performance notebook, and the Precision series has a reputation for managing it with a fairly aggressive cooling solution. In my tests, after an hour of sustained gaming at 1080p, the chassis stayed warm to the touch, but never hot enough to cause discomfort. The fans did spin up, producing a low to moderate whine that's audible in a quiet room, but easily drowned out by game audio or background music. If you're in a library or a shared workspace, you might want to keep the volume up a bit, but the noise never felt like a distraction. That's a practical win over many cheaper gaming laptops that either stay unbearably quiet and overheat, or get so noisy they become unusable in public. Keyboard feel is another factor that separates a machine you'll use daily from an on-sea-week indulgence. The 3580 uses a full-size island-style layout with decent travel and a tactile snap that feels reliable whether you're typing a code snippet or issuing quick chat commands in a multiplayer match. There's a numeric keypad on the right side, which is a pleasant surprise for a 15-inch laptop and handy for spreadsheet work. The backlighting is adjustable, so you can keep gaming or working in dim environments without straining your eyes. Battery life is where the trade-off becomes evident. Because the machine houses a power-hungry GPU and a processor aimed at workstation tasks, you shouldn't expect a marathon runner battery. In a mixed-usage scenario, a few minutes of email, a couple of hours of CAD, then an evening gaming session, I saw about 3 to 4 hours of real-world runtime before the charger kicked in. If you plan to game on the train or in a coffee shop without an outlet, this isn't the ideal companion. However, if your typical day involves plugging in at the office and you mainly need the laptop for intensive bursts, the battery is acceptable. Portability is a mixed bag. The chassis is built from aluminum and magnesium alloy, giving it a premium heft that feels solid but also adds weight. At roughly 5.5 pounds, it's heavier than many thin and light gaming laptops, but you're still able to slip it into a standard backpack. The 15.6-inch screen means you won't need an external monitor for most tasks, yet the overall dimensions are still manageable for a commuter. The trade-off here is intentional. Dell chose to prioritize cooling and build integrity over ultralight design. Now, let's address the price question. Workstation-grade laptops tend to sit in a higher price bracket, and the Precision 3580 is no exception. Compared to a similarly spec'd desktop, you're paying a premium for the convenience of mobility, the Dell support ecosystem, and the certification for professional software. If you already own a decent desktop tower with a capable GPU, the 3580 might feel like an overpay for pure gaming. But if you need to move between client sites, attend a gaming meetup, or simply prefer not to lug a tower around, the cost starts to make sense. The price,